Hey guys, Alex and Dan from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Now normally this is the point where we would recap things, but just as a quick note, for anyone who's coming into this and might be new here, this is not our first time watching Doctor Who.
No.
So for all the new people here, this is now a follow-up series to watching all of classic Doctor Who, which we have done. It's in its own playlist. Just as another heads up, I have seen all of modern Doctor Who. He hasn't. He's only watched a handful of episodes. And various episodes. Those are also in their own playlist. Actually, they should be in the same playlist this is in, actually. So just for a note for anyone new is we will probably be referencing stuff from classic Doctor Who. If you haven't seen classic Doctor Who, well, hopefully either A, you don't care that much, or B, well, I have a completely other Doctor Who reaction series that you can watch that will be this exact same thing, except without him and without classic Doctor Who spoilers. So, but anyway, with that said, we can jump into last time on Doctor Who. It was 1996 with the movie. What happened on that one?
Well, the Seventh Doctor, traveling along, heading back to Skaro? No.
He's headed to Gallifrey.
Headed to Gallifrey from Skaro because the Daleks had executed the Master and the Doctor was taking his remains, but somehow or other the Master had fixed it so that he wasn't actually dead and he escaped. The TARDIS lands on Earth, materializes literally in the middle of a gang war. The Doctor takes a couple of slugs, they take him to the hospital, they try to fix him but realize he's got two hearts and they say that can't be possible, and they end up essentially killing him.
Yeah.
However, in the morgue, he revives, regenerates into the Eighth Doctor, and then the Eighth Doctor, whose memory is Swiss cheesed at this point, finally escapes, puts on a Halloween costume, or not really a Halloween costume, but a costume from a costume party that was happening on New Year's Eve. And he finds out that the Master has now tried to come back. He's going to do something with some kind of atomic clock and blow up time and the Eye of Harmony and this, that. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. And we were ultimately sorry that the Eighth Doctor didn't get more, either a series or further movies.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was the first attempt at a reboot. Technically, I guess the second attempt was Scream of the Shalka, which we have also reacted to, and has recently, I hesitate to say, been made canon. Technically, recently Scream of the Shalka has been made canon. However, in making it canon, they don't explain how it's canon. Somehow it is. It doesn't make any sense, but
well, to be honest, making Doctor Who, now when did that come out?
That was 2002, maybe 2003.
Okay. Making Doctor Who an animated series makes way more sense because there's so much more you can get away with visually. You could even literally do hour-long episodes if you wanted to, but if you wanted to do a series of just half-hour episodes like the old Doctor Who, it made perfect sense to do that.
Yeah. Well, and especially too, because if you did episodes like the classic episodes, it's not like you'd have to like do all these like really, really crazy like effects or anything. Like a lot of those episodes you can get by with just, here's a backdrop, here's the character standing in front of it, and they talk for a bit, and yeah, some stuff does happen, don't get me wrong, but like you could have gotten away with that. I was actually just thinking today about Star Trek and how I feel like they should have more animated shows than they do. And I know they at least have one. It's more of it's more for children, I guess, or for a younger audience. But I thought about it because there was a review I watched where they were talking about Star Trek Beyond, and at the beginning of that movie, they say, well, we're already 3 years into the 5-year journey. Kirk's already jaded. He doesn't want to do this anymore. And it's like, but we didn't see that on screen. That wasn't in the last movie. And I thought, why don't they make a show about that? Star Wars does that with the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch and stuff like that. It's like, why don't they make an animated series and sort of fill in that gap? So, yeah, honestly, Doctor Who could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and granted, you'd probably need a little bit more animation budget than Scream of the Shalka had, but otherwise.
But Richard Grant also made an interesting Doctor. Now, I didn't really care for the way they made him look, because he was kind of a younger version of Hartnell and crossed with Paul McGann, if I remember it correctly. But he certainly had the voice and the character for it.
Yeah, definitely. So, although in slightly canonizing Scream of the Shalka, they've also kind of canonized The Curse of Fatal Death, because he was also in that as a version of the Doctor. So, I don't know. It's all sorts of screwy, but...
And we've said this before, because we watched Curse of Fatal Death probably about 3-4 years ago. Talk about possibilities for the Doctor.
Yeah.
All right? I mean, what's his name? Rowan
Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. Not the normal kind of Doctor you would think of, but made a good Doctor. Hugh Grant was in it. Jonathan Pryce was playing the Master, but could have played the Doctor.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's like 4 or 5 other actors in there who could have all been great Doctors.
Well, yeah. So, well, heck, maybe sometime in the next 10 years they'll announce the next Doctor to be Hugh Grant. I don't know.
He's getting old.
So is Capaldi, though.
Yeah.
Well, okay, how old is Hugh Grant exactly, do you know?
He's probably in his 60s by now, I would imagine.
All right, because I think Peter Capaldi was in his 50s. He was actually, I think, the same age that Hartnell was when he took the show.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway, none of that matters. We are watching the third, the one that stuck reboot of Doctor Who. I say reboot, it really just is a continuation. It's not even like it's not like those Star Trek movies where it's like, well, let's have a new Captain Kirk and all this stuff. It's like, nope, this is just a continuation, and good on them for it. So, episodes are going to be shorter. They're going to be about half the length of the classic episodes, or the 4-parters that we watched. So videos will probably be a little shorter. I don't know how I'm going to take notes, because I've already seen all this. Yeah. So, I don't know. So if at any point you want to, you can go ahead and slap a note onto the notebook. Okay. But yeah, this is the first episode with the 9th Doctor.
And I have been looking forward to this, because in our previous tour through New Who, we watched Dalek. And that was the first time I had seen Christopher Eccleston. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that story.
Yeah.
And so I've been looking forward to seeing how this all kind of rebooted. And if I recall correctly, aren't the Autons in this one?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, they are.
Sorry, spoiler.
It's the only thing he'll remember that I've ever said. So, so yeah. It is the first episode of the season. What we normally do, even though everyone who's been watching the classic reactions are going to be like, we've heard this 26 times already. But for anyone new coming in, if there is anyone new coming in, I don't know, we do the full-length reaction is available for free. So if you want to watch our full, unedited reaction to this episode of Doctor Who, it's down in the description and in the pinned comment. You click on it, it'll take you over to my Patreon page, and what you have to do is sync up your copy of this episode of Doctor Who to our footage. There'll be a count-in, a 3, 2, 1. That's when you hit play. You can probably find it, it's on the BBC iPlayer. It might be on Max. HBO Max used to have Doctor Who. I don't know if they do anymore. Unfortunately, they don't have this on Disney Plus with the new seasons. Where we're watching it specifically is on the DVD. So I actually have almost all of Modern Who on DVD, and I didn't even realize it, because I was just like, I'll get this, and then I'll get this, and then I'll get this, and then I was like, oh wait, this is the whole thing, basically. So so yeah, this is essentially the first 4 seasons of Modern Doctor Who all in one DVD set. So this is where we're watching it. Hopefully there's not any issues. If I remember correctly, I had a Blu-ray of season 11 or season 12 of Modern Who, and I remember some people saying there were frame rate issues. I hope that doesn't happen, because I don't want to try to find this show anywhere else, but hopefully it all works out. All right. Anywho, and after the reaction, we will also have the discussion where we'll go over the notes, talk about things we like, we dislike, all that sort of stuff. So,
Now, also, one last thing. The last time we saw the Autons was with the third Doctor, wasn't it? Or did Tom Baker actually see it? Because I don't remember them after the third Doctor.
there might have been an early episode with Tom Baker, but I can't think of it.
Yeah.
But before that, it would have been, Terror of the Autons, which was the first episode with the Master in it. So that was a long time ago.
Now, who was in Spearhead from Space? Was that not also the Autons?
It was. That was their first appearance.
Okay.
So, but yeah. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
Then we might as well jump right into season or series 1 or season 27 or whatever you want to call it. Episode 1 of Doctor Who. Widescreen.
No, my understanding was she was like a pop star, rock star, something like that before this.
I don't know about before this. It might have been after, but
Modern London.
eh,
I have not been there since 1966, so most of this stuff was not there when I was there.
eh. Well, and who knows if this stuff is still there now? It's 19 years later, anyway.
Yeah.
This is the customer announcement. The store will be closing in 5 minutes. Thank you.
I love that this clothing store just has this dramatic soundtrack playing.
You there?
Why is the CEO in the basement?
Closing the shop. Who is it?
Yeah. Boy, I forgot how quickly it just gets to it.
Who are they then? Students? Is this a student thing or what?
Why would there be students?
I don't know.
Well, you said it. Why students?
Because to get that many people dressed up and being silly, they gotta be students.
That makes sense. Well done.
Thanks.
They're not students.
Whoever they are, when Wilson finds them, he's gonna call the police.
Who's Wilson?
Chief electrician.
Oh,
Wilson's dead.
CEO, Chief Electrical Officer.
I'm gonna go first. And I might well die in the process, but don't worry about me, no. You go on. Go on. Go and have your lovely beans on toast. Don't tell anyone about this, because if you do, you'll get them killed. I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
Jeez.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere. She's lucky to be alive. Honestly, it's aged her. Skin like an old Bible. Walking in now, you think I was her daughter.
What are you drinking, tea? No, that's no good. That's no good. You're in shock. You need something stronger.
Alright.
Now come on. You deserve a proper drink. We're going down the pub. You and me, my tree. How about it?
Is there a match on? There's a match on right now.
That's not the point, but we...
That's what I look like in the morning.
No point in getting up, sweetheart. Got no job to go to. And I'm not joking about compensation. You've had genuine shock and trauma. Ariana got 2,000 quid off the council just because the old man behind the desk said she looked Greek. I know she is Greek, but that's not the point. It's a valid claim.
What are you doing here?
I live here.
Well, what'd you do that for?
Is that it? I'm only out because someone blew up my job.
There's a strange man in my bedroom.
Yes, there is.
Where anything could happen.
No.
No.
Don't mind the rest.
That won't last. He's gay and she's an
I'm
alien.
not blaming you, even if it was.
Well, it could have been worse. Look at the ears.
He was saying he was nice.
You got a cat?
No?
He was saying, give a man a plastic hand. And I didn't even know your name. Doctor, what was it?
Oh no, it flies now.
It's alright, I stopped it. There you go, you see? Harmless. It's like when you're a kid. The first time they tell you that the world's turning and you just can't quite believe it because everything looks like it's standing still. I can feel it. The turn of the earth. The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me. Clinging to the skin of this tiny little world and we let go. That's who I am. Now forget me, Rose Tyler. Go home.
It's a terrifying thought, but a great line.
Don't read my emails.
Oof. CRTs.
Oh, yeah.
Searchwise.net.
Yeah.
You're not coming in. He's safe. He's got a wife and kids.
Yeah, who told you that? He did. That's exactly what an internet lunatic murderer would say.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm on his side.
I briefly had a VW like that.
Hello, I've come to see Clive. We've been emailing.
Oh, Dad! Before you go on nutters!
You read a website about the doctor? She's a sheep.
A lot of this
It's hard to be intimidating in a VW.
The Kennedy motorcade. Yeah.
November the 22nd, 1963. The assassination of President Kennedy. See?
His father.
Going further back.
I love that he looked right at that camera.
12. The Doctor is a legend woven throughout history. When disaster comes, he's there. He brings the storm in his wake. And he has one constant companion.
Who's that?
Death.
He's like the Mothman.
Okay. That's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Who is he? What are we going to do tonight? I fancy a pizza.
Pizza. Pizza.
Or Chinese.
Pizza.
She can't tell the difference.
What are you talking about? It's perfect camouflage.
What was he doing there?
I'm not going on about it, Mickey. Really, I'm not. Because I know it sounds daft, but I don't think he's safe. He's dangerous.
But you can trust me, sweetheart, babe.
Darling.
Babe, sugar. You can tell me anything. Tell
He's
me
not
about
blinking.
the doctor and what he's planning,
Yeah.
and I can help you, Rose. We didn't order it. Ah, gotcha.
Don't mind me. I'm just toasting the happy couple. From the house.
Oof.
Anyway,
Dogosh. Hit him with a bottle. Oh.
don't think that's gonna stop me.
Good job. Yep. Hold on, go make sure. Not that you really have the time to do this, but...
Well, Mickey hasn't broken through yet.
Oh, yeah.
Now he has.
He's gonna throw us.
The assembled hordes of Genghis Khan couldn't get through that door. Believe me, they've tried. Now, shut up a minute.
Not quite the way the
See,
7th and 8th Doctor left it.
Oh, yeah. Moody, but a bit grungy.
Yeah.
Are you alien?
Yes. Is that alright?
Yeah.
It's called the
Good.
TARDIS, this thing.
Mickey. Did they kill Mickey? Is he dead?
Oh. I didn't think of that.
He's my boyfriend. You pulled off his head.
Meh.
They copied him and you didn't even think. And now you're just gonna let him melt?
Yeah.
You were right. You are alien.
look, if I did forget some kid called Mickey,
Yeah, he's not a
it's
kid.
because I'm busy trying to save the life of every stupid ape blundering about on top of this planet. All right?
All right.
Yes, it is.
If you are an alien, how come you sound like you're from the north?
Lots of planets have a norm. Consciousness is controlling every single piece of plastic, so it needs a transmitter to boost the signal.
What's it look like?
Like a transmitter, round and massive, somewhere slap bang in the middle of London. A huge metal circular structure, like a dish. Close to where we're standing. Must be completely invisible. What?
Are you a moron?
Yeah.
What? What is it? What?
Go one more time.
Oh. Fantastic. Plastic all over the world. Every artificial thing waiting to come alive. The shopping of dummies, the phones, the wires, the cables.
The breast implants.
Still, we found the transmitter.
It's terrifying.
Consciousness. No, honestly, no. Yes, that's my ship.
Boy, they got it here in record time.
Not true. I should know. I was there. I fought in the war. It wasn't my fault. Save your world. I couldn't save any of them.
I was gonna say, I hope these things are strong. I want to know how the signal gave them the handguns. I don't know why the little ones are the creepiest.
No job. No future. But I tell you what I have got. Gerald Street Junior School under Simmons Genetics team. I've got the bronze.
Man, that's just with the bronze. Oh. Base are broken.
Blow up the wheel.
Oh, that's gonna be a heck of a cleanup.
Rose, don't go out of the house. It's not safe. And there were these things, and they were shooting, and they. Hello. Hello.
You at least say something.
He's an alien. He's a thing.
He's not invited.
Meh.
By the way, did I mention it also travels in time?
Thanks.
Thanks for what?
Exactly.
Later. Hang on. Hang on. I was afraid they would do it next time on. There we go.
Right. So her mom is Jackie?
Yeah.
That actress looked very familiar, but it's not the person I was thinking of. All right.
I might go in and do an edit of future episodes and take out that specific the next time on. So, but it's okay. We figured it out. So, alrighty.
All right, the first thing, and I know probably a lot of people didn't care for this, but I love the fact that they added the humor back into it. All right, although Doctor Who can be very serious, as we will see in upcoming episodes, and we saw all the way through it. But Tom Baker had humor. Third Doctor.
Pertwee.
John Pertwee had humor.
Yeah.
Hartnell didn't have a lot of humor, but I think that was just because they were establishing it.
His humor came from not having humor, honestly.
Yeah. But this is very much in the vein of the Seventh Doctor. All right? Although he does have some brusqueness, very much like the Sixth Doctor, which is kind of off-putting at first, but the fact that the overall enjoyment of the entire episode is there, you kind of are assuming that somewhere down the line some of that roughness is going to wear off.
Yeah.
Also, the setup, the war, he fought in the war,
Yeah.
he couldn't stop it. So, I mean, it's just there's a lot of stuff to unpack there, but
Yeah.
overall, just absolutely enjoyed it.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because the way you say it, yes, it is... He does have some more kind of abrasive moments, like with the Sixth Doctor. I will say, though, because with this, it's like, that kind of is leading into pretty much a character arc, and, you know, with how they seed, the war in this episode. Whereas with the Sixth Doctor, I feel like that it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, he was abrasive to be abrasive, you know? And while he got better as time went on, like with this one, it's like, you know, you can kind of see basically here, it's like he clearly has not had anyone for a while. You know, as far as we know, the last companion he had technically was Grace in the movie, and you could say, well, he also had, you know, some of the audio drama companions as well, but it's very clear it's been a while since he's had anyone else in the TARDIS. You know, even the fact that he looks and he did not know what his own face looked like, which is an interesting... It's an interesting detail that they've explained it a bit with some of the Big Finish audios with the Ninth Doctor, that it's something like he just, before that moment, he never wanted to see what this regeneration looked like. Even in the context of the episode, it doesn't fully make sense, because he's clearly had adventures, because he's gone back to those different points in time, because that's what Clive finds. But it's an interesting point. But it's all just good setup, building of, you know, it's not just the Doctor's back and that's just that. It's like we're clearly building something new here. So
did Clive die? He got shot.
His
His wife screamed. We didn't see what happened after that.
Yeah, it's, as far as we know, Clive doesn't come back. Okay. So that's...
And I'm looking here at the cast list that says Nestine voiced Nicholas Briggs.
Yeah. So he... I don't remember if he was doing the Dalek voices in classic Doctor Who, but he did a lot of... I know he does a lot for like Big Finish and stuff like that, like setting that up. And originally, when they did the first like batch of Ninth Doctor audio dramas, it was him as the Ninth Doctor. Before and since then, they've actually gotten Christopher Eccleston back, but he originally was the voice of the Ninth Doctor. Huh. So, but yeah, so. But other than that, I mean, I should let you talk. You're the one watching this for the first time.
Well, if I were living in the UK in 2005, I would be overjoyed at this.
Yeah.
Because, again, it has the standard elements. You know, you got the TARDIS, you got the time traveling and all this. There's the return of the Autons. But the new companion, very much like the new Doctor, is completely different from what we've seen before. We've never had this kind of a middle class, and we've talked about that before, that it would be fun to have somebody who's not as upper class as all the people who had, all the people from London that had traveled with him before. Most of the people, anyway. I mean, we're discounting, Dodo and Ben and Polly.
Right.
But this makes it a little, I don't want to say grittier, but, again, here's this girl, got nothing going on in her life, but clings to the fact that she got the bronze medal in gymnastics or whatever that was. And now they set that out. I mean, you could tell that holding it out like that she was either going to jump off and push the guy in or do something like that. So it all worked for me. The concept works. I like what not only Eccleston did, and by the way, notice he's listed as Doctor Who, not just the Doctor.
Yeah, I think that's only for this season. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, he's the first actor since I think Tom Baker to be credited as Doctor Who instead of the Doctor. So
I'd be interested to know what else Camille Coduri has done. I want to say she was in a film called King Ralph, but I don't know. She's very familiar looking, and I can't figure out why. But anyway, I like the interior of the TARDIS. Again, it's not exactly what we saw during the movie, but it's an obvious continuation of that. Decided not to go with the stark interior that we saw the first 3 or 4 Doctors have. The Autons were suitably creepy.
Yeah. With what you were saying about Rose, I will say, like, because of just from how you mentioned of this sort of middle class, just sort of normal girl, she kind of reminds me of Tegan, but like they figured out how to write Tegan, because that was kind of a problem. Which, I mean, there were multiple factors to that. Maybe Tegan might have worked out better if it was just her. The fact that they still had Adric, and then they last second brought in Nyssa again. Like everything kind of worked against Tegan, to where they really just didn't give her many moments to shine. But Rose does kind of feel like that, just sort of every man, or every girl, teenage girl who's, just trying to go through life just normally, and just somehow winds up in this grand adventure with this time traveling alien, but. But she is kind of like that. I wouldn't say she's as like, I don't know, maybe not as like proactive or aggressive as like Ace or, some of the companions like Ace, but definitely sort of I would say Tegan done right. So like someone who will, pushes buttons a little bit. I do love that line, if you're an alien, why do you sound like you're from the north? Lots of planets have a north. So
theoretically, all planets have a north. But anyway.
Yeah. So.
And again, I've mentioned this before. She reminds me a lot of that mechanic that they met back on Gallifrey, who was in the academy with the Doctor, and who was fixing.
Oh yeah.
Because he had that kind of lower middle class accent, and he wasn't one of the educated, extremely high muckety mucks. He was a mechanic. He knew how to fix the TARDIS.
Yeah. So, and I will say, having watched all of Modern Who and now rewatched it, because I have not fully rewatched this episode since I first watched it in 2018. So it's a long time ago now. But watching this again, I feel pretty confident in saying, anyone, if you want to get someone into Doctor Who, it has to be this episode.
Yeah.
It has to be this season in particular. Because I was even thinking, someone was pointing out that the latest season, which is also Russell T Davies, there are a lot of episodes, even though they're very different episodes from this season, they do kind of hit a couple of the same beats, Yeah. And I thought about that, and I was like, well, I really do like the episodes of the new season, but because they pointed out the basic similarities to the episodes of this season, this first season here, it's like, man, this first season is really good. And it's taken me a while to kind of realize that, but this is, and I don't want that to sound like, well, it's all downhill after this, you know? But this season is really tight, really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like if you're going to start someone anywhere, and there are a couple episodes you can make an argument later on for, well, this could also be a sort of good spot to jump in. But I feel like this season, as well, too, because I feel like this season now is kind of old enough to where, yes, this should get you into modern Doctor Who. I feel like it's also kind of old enough to where you will be okay watching classic Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because there are some things, like the effects in this episode. They're not great. The best effect is the Autons, just because they're, you know, just people in mass, just, you know, kind of just doing the robot all the time. But, like, some of the effects, like, you know, Mickey being eaten by a trash bin, they're not the greatest effects in the world. But if you start with that, then you can go back to some of the effects in classic Doctor Who and be like, yeah, okay, sure. You know, it's a product of its time.
Yeah.
So I would still say this, above all else, this season is where you should get someone into Doctor Who. Yeah. So, as for the other stuff, I mean, it's a good return of the Autons, definitely. Like, if you know that sort of stuff. If you don't know it, it's still just a good story about it. Like, because they never really reference, you know, I don't think they ever really called them the Autons, just the Nestene consciousness. And the Doctor doesn't say, oh yeah, I dealt with them before. Like, there's just a bit of, you know, the hinting at the war, but that's never in classic Doctor Who. So I like that. It works of, you know, if you've seen classic Doctor Who, you get it. It's a great, you know, it's a great callback. If you haven't seen classic Doctor Who, it's still a really good episode with a good, terrifying plot of these mannequins coming to life, you know? So, I don't know. I guess maybe one thing we could do, because we mentioned this last week, is compare this specific first episode to the movie. And, you know, does this do a better job than the movie did at being a sort of reboot of getting people in?
Well, they both have way more action than classic Who usually did.
Yeah.
And certainly comparing this to even the introduction of Hartnell way back in 1963. Mm-hmm. Again, that I don't want to say it was more cerebral, but it was, again, more of a, here's this mysterious guy who happens to take these two teachers throughout time and space. That was kind of a slow move in.
Right.
The first, 4 episodes were the cavemen before we got to the Daleks. Or was the TARDIS alive when the 2-episode
Yeah, that was
Edge of Destruction. Yeah,
Edge of Destruction. That was after the Dalek serial. Okay. So, and you know, because that's an interesting thing going back, because pretty much every transition to a new Doctor in classic Doctor Who has a companion. So it's supposed to be just a straight, you know, you did watch the last episode, now you're watching the new episode with the new Doctor, with the only exception being from the second Doctor to the third Doctor, which ironically also had the Autons in it. So, like, that's the only other time in classic Doctor Who that was sort of a soft reboot, even though they still had, you know, the Brigadier and unit like that. Like, but even still, it's like that was the only time in classic Doctor Who that was just sort of this cut. Now we just, you know, pretty much start over from scratch almost. Yeah. So, but I will say with this, again, while I did enjoy the movie, I think this was also the right idea to not bring in Paul McGann and have him regenerate in this episode. Yeah. Because while that was, it's good that we saw that in the movie, that we just got the regeneration from 7 to 8. It does sort of hurt it because if you're watching that, especially if you don't know anything about what's going on, you're just like, okay, who's this guy? What's happening? This wasn't the guy on the poster, you know? Yeah. And then he regenerates. Oh, now he's a different guy. I don't know what's happening. There's this Snake Man who's, you know, going in, becoming the Terminator. I don't know what's going on. Whereas this is just like, all you need to know is that this northern guy is an alien. He has a telephone box that's bigger on the inside, and he's defeating other aliens that are trying to destroy the Earth. That's really all you need. If anything, everything that we learn is the same stuff that Rose learns.
And this is kind of odd because up until this point, he's always had a huge fondness for the Earth. And here he was kind of going, these people are destroying their own planet. So, I mean, he has kind of a love-hate relationship here, which I'm sure we'll figure out in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, and before I forget, the opening theme was kind of muted, I thought.
Yeah.
It's not the way I remember. And again, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me, the latest version that I heard, that new symphonic one, that's very, very pulsing and driving, very similar in an orchestrated version of the original. That original, thrumming electronic sound to it was just, and it just kind of slowly got worse over the years until, the theme for the last few seasons, you couldn't really hear the beat underneath it at all.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to how the theme will evolve again from here.
Yeah, I want to say I feel like they might re-record it at some point this season, or at least within the next couple seasons, but it's not, it takes a little while before they will just have, a brand new version of it. But yeah, if I remember correctly, like, you're right, it is sort of more just like the beat is happening and sort of going through that beat is the actual tune, basically. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when that happens or not. I don't know. I think they also like changed the logo, like they reshaped the logo a little bit, just a little bit. Like it's still like the same sort of really long oval that it is, but they sort of change it up, I think. So I don't remember when that was though. It's been a long time again. So but yeah, and I guess the other thing to say in terms of this versus the movie is this is shorter and it gets to the point very quickly. The first scene, you quickly you understand Rose is just your average teenage girl, and then immediately these things are coming to life, and the doctor, literally, the show basically just grabs her by the hand and flings her into this whole adventure.
Yeah.
So, so I think that, whereas the movie, you got to wait for the 7th Doctor to regenerate, then you got to wait for the 8th Doctor to get his memories back, and then you got to go, actually go to the place to do the thing and get the piece to the clock and stuff, and it's all sorts of confusing and weird. So, if anything, well, again, we really like the movie. Paul McGann is great and would have been great in his own show. This, I'm glad this exists, and this is how Doctor Who survived. Yeah. So, you got anything else?
I got nothing.
Then next time, I can't go back and see, but I know what the next episode is. Next time, we will move on to episode 2, The End of the World. So the show's going to end. Oh, sorry, that's the end of all of that. The whole world is destroyed, and that's just that. But anywho.
And I'm off to auditions today. We are holding auditions for Brendan Thomas's 1892 Victorian farce, Charlie's Aunt. And not only am I producing it, but I'm actually going to audition for it.
Yeah. So, retroactively wish him luck, because this is being aired much later.
Yes.
But anyway.
With all that being said.
With all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as a playlist of some other Doctor Who series. I haven't decided on which one will be on screen, as well as a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen. There's also, I already said that, there's also links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.